The act of intentionally self-harming is a growing trend, and the act of children engaging in self-harming behaviors is a notable problem which should be addressed. When adolescents engage in self-harm behavior, there is a sense of subtlety in the act of self-harm. However, despite that subtlety, there are red flags and certain factors throughout their life and their behavior that could indicate that they are in fact engaging in self-harm behavior. In the study that we will be discussing today, it calls attention to those red flags. There's a wide variety of authors involved in this study. Some of the primary authors in this study includes Nicola Maj, Keith Houghton, Elaine Emma McMahon, and others. When adolescents engage in self-harm, there's factors in their life that could be a reason as to why they are engaging in self-harm behavior. In this study, they particularly pay attention to self-esteem issues, impulsivity, and stressful life events that they have experienced. And these could be contributing factors that could lead to the eventual self-harm behavior, or at least the thought of self-harm behavior without committing the actual act of self-harm. The study primarily has participants ranging from 14 to 17-year-old schoolmates from countries predominantly in Europe and parts of Australia. In order to assess the method in which they had harmed themselves, as well as the last self-harm episodes, there are certain categories of self-harm, whether it's initiated behavior such as cutting or jumping from a given height, ingesting a prescribed substance, ingesting an illicit or recreational drug, or ingesting a non-ingestible item. In categorizing these adolescents, there is 4 separate groups in which they were divided into, which were self-harm thoughts only, with no actual self-harm episode within the past year, 1 single self-harm episode within the past year, and multiple self-harm episodes of the past year, as well as an earlier episode prior to the current year. In order to assess those indicators in their lives, they used a 20-question questionnaire that related to negative life events throughout the past year of their life that may have led to their ultimate self-harm behavior or simply thinking about self-harm. And this questionnaire brought out difficulties with friends and peers, problems with or between parents, serious illness of family or friend, physical or sexual abuse, suicide or of self-harm of family or friends, death of someone close, and worries about sexual orientation. They used what's referred to as a multinomial logistic regression in order to assess the associations between gender, age, country, psychological characteristics, and reported stressful life event categories and self-harm within the past year in order to generate results. It was found that 79.6% of the young people said they had not experienced thoughts of self-harm within the past year. 14.6% said they had thought about self-harming themselves but had not actually done so. 2.6% reported a single self-harm episode within the past year, and 3.2% had reported multiple episodes of self-harm. Females were at least twice as likely in comparison to men to report having thoughts of self-harm as well as single and multiple episodes of self-harm in comparison to men. Some differences that also emerged revolved around different countries in which the study was conducted. For example, in the Netherlands, they had low rates of both thoughts as well as episodes of self-harm among both genders. Hungary also showed a pattern that both male and females are less likely to report no thoughts as well as no episodes of self-harm in the previous year, but were more likely to report only having self-harm thoughts only. Overall, I believe that this study effectively highlights the connection between the psychological characteristics as well as the stressful life events that could lead to the act or thoughts of self-harm. However, the study does have its flaws as well. For instance, the study neglects to show different ages of adolescence groups and not very diverse, because children under the age of 14 are still children and can still engage in self-harm behavior. So I believe if they would have had participants under the age of 14, there could have been a possibility of a connection between psychological disorders and self-harm among those groups as well. Additionally, even though the demographic is targeting the youth, it neglects to show children in other cultures as people from other parts of the world. Because the country's study takes place in Europe and parts of Australia, there should be other countries and parts of the world involved in the study as well. Places could include North America, Asia, and Africa. Going to places all over the world could diversify the results even further. Different cultures have different forms of self-harm, but also different opinions of those who self-harm, especially children who self-harm. So by highlighting those different cultures, it would be quite interesting. Despite the flaws, I believe that it was very informative and clearly demonstrates the link between psychological disorders and stressful life events and self-harm. And then this is the reference for the study. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening.